Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. It's another Sunday afternoon, and we are live. You are now in the Mancave, right? And so we're looking at a number of issues that's impacting us again. We touched on some things last week, and we want to explore those things this week, which is, serious. There's a serious issues relating to men and their relationship, how they relate to the opposite sex, and how we work through problems and issues. Um, we do not wish to give the impression that we are all perfect or all knowing. We are not all perfect or all knowing, and hence, there are issues that we need to resolve as men. Um, and primarily we focus on men because indeed we're the head of our households. For too long we have abdicate our throne, we have abdicate our place in the house, and those spaces are being filled by our women counterpart, which is not balanced. It doesn't present a balance. It doesn't impact positively on the overall life of the society. And so we want to ensure that we get it right. We want to ensure that we get it right. We want to ensure that all of the issues are also placed in front of us. Yes, and that these issues are answered, attended to. We want to empower you, not just the men, but the women who listen to this podcast as well. Because sometimes we think it's man alone listen to the podcast, but women too listen to the podcast, and we want to have that kind of um, impact. We want to have that kind of dialogue. We want for both persons to look at, to revisit, yes, their own situations, and find resolution. Because we know, the issue is not that we want for um to show us one side. The issue is that we want to bring balance back to the family. We want to re-examine and re-engage the perfect union for a family, that would allow for the family to grow, to maximize their potential, and to be successful in all that they do. And I tell you, the research had suggested. Good afternoon, my good sir, bless you, bless you, bless you, sir. Craig is on the line, my brother. you know um and so we want to ensure, yes, that at the end of the day, that persons are not just listening, but persons are applying some of the skills that we would articulate on this particular platform, so that we will improve our our situation over time. Yes. So we're going to look at a number of definition. Yes, we're going to look at a number of things. And some of these things we get directly presently right now from the internet, but there are also books, but we can't draw for those all the time. To give you an idea, to situate you right in the middle of the conversation, so you understand fully what we're looking at. All right, so I'm going to read directly from the internet this, because Center of for Disease Control and some other stuff. It says intimate partner violence, yes, is not exclusively a men's issue, but is deeply connected to men as both primary predators and as significant, often overlooked victims. While women face higher rate of injury and fatal violence, approximately 1 in 3 men experience some form of intimate partner violence in their lifetime, including physical violence, sexual violence, or stalking. Key aspect of, and abuse doesn't always mean that we're physical. So we want you to also understand that. You can be verbally abusive and emotional abuse. You can be a number of different handle, and we're just looking at how this works. So we say prevalence. Research indicate that roughly 46 to 47% of all intimate partner violence victims include physical, sexual, and stalking are men, challenging the misconception that it is solely a women's issue. Um, perpetu- what you call it? perpetuation, yeah, those who perpetuate these things, men are the predators, yes, in the majority of serious IPV cases, making addressing toxic masculinity, social norms, and education crucial to prevention. Underreported, men often do not report abuse, feeling it challenges their masculinity or that they will not be taken seriously by authorities. And we have had personal experience with those things. Um, IPV against men can lead to serious physical and mental health issues, including anxiety, depression, and increased substance abuse, according to research from Science Direct and the National Institute of Health. Now, there are several ways we can look at this, because it says addressing IP violence requires recognition or recognizing it is a universal issue impacting all genders, requiring support services from male victims while maintaining focus on reducing male perpetuation. Education is a critical part of it. Yes, because um, one case can lead to another case. If men feel like they're being, beaten down and so on, and it becomes a mental issue, then I'm going to suggest to you that that mental issue can morph into violence towards the partner, your partner. And so it is important, yes? Um, we're looking for even more, some more recent information. So that is what it is about. Yes, that's what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about the fact that men ought not to be predators. We want to talk about the fact that men ought not to abuse their women, neither mentally, psychologically, physically, no ally, yes, emotionally, none of those things. We do not need to do that. That does not lead to better relationship. It does not lead to better family. It does not lead to success in families. It does not lead to those things. And as such, we would want to suggest right now that men ought not to do it. In truth and fact, there's a pastor who says a man who hits his woman is an embarrassment to mankind. Yes, and even more so is an embarrassment to God. I don't want to call a name, but you would know who would have said that, because that man is very articulate and very strong on his theology where that is concerned. We don't need to do that. As a matter of fact, we need to move away from that. We need to move far, far away from that, because that does not resolve or allow for a healthy relationship and the healthy development of the family unit. That create more problem than anything else. And so, we are trusting that as we have these open conversation, yes, as we do this open conversation situations, that the end will be that we will improve upon our general outlook. Our family values and our family relationships will improve, and our children have healthy examples to follow as we move forward. But there's a whole lot of toxicity in relationship, and in recent times, and I said we are not here to blame women. We are just here to look at some of the issues, and in looking at those issues, it is our um, mm, it is our hope, yes, that at the end of the day we will improve our situation significantly. Now, what type of abuse is most common for men? Anybody know? We have it in we have a system now where you can send a voice note via the WhatsApp group, and that voice note will be uploaded to our studio, and so we can have a conversation, kind of static, but we are trying to work it out where we can basically invite people in the studio and work through all of that. So we're kind of trying to work through that part. But until we would have worked with all the technical details of that, you can actually put your voice note in the WhatsApp chat, and it will upload it, and you'll be able to have this kind of conversation. Nevertheless, you can still send in your WhatsApp messages. So I would love to know what kind of abuse you think men face mostly. What's the most prevalent abuse, type of abuse that men face? And so you can put that up in the chat. Along with whatever else you think would be germane to this conversation. Now, remember, our focus. We are Christian men. We are men who believe in Jesus Christ. We are men who believe in the Christian theology. Yes, and so it is important that we use that as our central point. Yes, of demarcation. We do not believe in violence against women. In truth, in fact, Jesus taught a total different kind of philosophy, where he says that, listen, we need to love our enemies, pray for those who use us and abuse us. He said that. So we are thinking that that is where we stand. We stand in a place where men love their wives, even as Christ loved the church and gave his life for it, which is sacrificial. And so the love that we have for our women folks is sacrificial. Yes, it would be important that you also understand that we would want to believe that at the end of the day, yes, at the end of the day, one second, at the end of the day, or relationships, yes, will be reflective of that, like Jesus. Yes, that's what we're hoping for. At the end of the day, we'll become better than we are right now. We'll improve upon all areas of our lives. That means the seed of the word will have fallen on fertile soil. Yes, and they will of course bloom. Yes, and they will now start to grow. Yes, and to of course cause us to become those trees planted by the rivers of waters. Yes, bringing forth our fruits in its season. Yes, our leaves will not wither, and whatsoever we do shall prosper. That is what we are looking forward to as men. And so it's important that we understand what we're about, and how we can navigate, how we can correct, how we can live our lives in a manner that will not allow for abuse to be a part of it. So we're going to look at some definitions. We're looking forward to your questions and of course your input. You can always send it in the chat. Our technical team will of course allow for that to be loaded up, and so we'll jump on those questions, those thoughts, whatever you have there. If you have definitions that we have not looked at, that's good. Abuse involved men can be discussed from two important perspectives: men as perpetrators of abuse and men as victims of abuse. That is so, my brother Craig, that is so true, and that's what we want to look at right now. We're looking at both perspectives because we want both parties to know, yes, that there are issues that both of us need to work out. There are protocols, yes, and structures of engagement that we need to utilize in order to improve our lot in life. Yes, understanding both situation, of course. You said it. You said it better than I could ever say. Help create a more balanced, honest conversation about relationships and family life, and that is so true. That is so true. So we're looking at, firstly, psychological abuse. It is suggested that that is the one that men face more often than not. Yes? Which is the one of most common form of domestic violence experienced by men. Yes? Usually targets a man's masculinity. Men are usually accused of not being manly enough, not making enough money, being weak, or crying when abused. And we call sissies and mama man and all kind of thing, as if man ought not to be emotional, that man cannot show emotions. Yes, and so it's kind of toxic. It comes from a toxic place. Yes, women oftentimes go for the jugular because they think that that's what hurts you the most, and in truth and in fact, without knowing it, that's what hurts us the most. We have known the old adage: sticks and stone may break my bone, but words may never hurt me. That's a lie. Words can kill you. Words can kill you. Words can put you in a mental situation that you kill yourself. Yes. And so words are powerful, and words basically are very often live longer than even the physical. So when you experience physical hurt and pain and whatever, that can wear off. But the mental part, the part that goes straight into your psyche, goes into your hard drive, goes into your memory and is connected to this loop, will shatter you, shatter you, shatter you, mash you up. And sometimes, we take other things for it. We become drunkards and smokers and abusers. Yes. And the abuse is not necessarily we abuse women, but that we use them in a very cavalier manner without thought of what may come next. There's some men with a whole heap of baby mothers. What do you think that is? Somebody telling that he was a weak man, so him go to somebody to prove that he's a man, and then from that one to the next one to the next one, because he always have to be proving that he's a man. And how do we prove that he's a man? By using his phallus as the meter, yes, the meter for which he is a manly, yes. So his manhood is measured by his conquest, yes. It is toxic, it is wrong, and very often we are caught in that spiral. Some of it is not from abuse, some of it is actually from what we have taught, yes. We would have learned that because through socialization. And socialization would suggest you that for you to be a man, you have to have something, man. Girl not bungle. Yes. Girl from Rima, girl from jungle. Yes, you know what I mean? Chill a load of girls. Yes, you know what I mean? And that's what make you feel mad. And women, there are women in the society who also help to buffer up and to prod up, yes, and to keep upright men who feel that way, because there are some benefits to be added to them from that way. But you and I know that one of the easiest way for you to destroy your future, to destroy what God has planned for you, one of the easiest way is for you to marry, to engage, to become involved with the wrong woman. Yes, and vice versa too. And that's why we need to understand what love is. We need to understand what relationship is. We need to understand what relationship requires of us. Because if we get it wrong, we can destroy our future. Yes? Yeah, man. We can mash up the future. If we get it wrong, believe me. Because some of us would have gotten it wrong for a very long time. We're struggling, and we're doing all kind of thing. Yes? So what we find is this. We are struggling and we're not finding the right connection. We're struggling and the reason is becoming more toxic. But then you'd have given 10 years, you'd have given 20 years, 15, 20 years, 25 years. And then you feel that the investment is too great an investment for you to let go. But the bottom line is that investment is leading you down the wrong path. That investment is leading you to destruction. That investment is leading you to ruin. But it's an investment that you think you have given too much to in order to let it go. Yes? And many times, God is saying, let go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. But we are saying, no, we can't let it go. We have invested too much. But in doing that, what we find is that we commit ourselves to ruin. We commit ourselves to our own demise because we have not thought it through. A question was asked, I read a document this morning, and the question was asked, how do you know you love somebody? And it was asked of I think it was a pastor or some religious figure, and he says, because he just can't get the person out of his mind. Although we are at odds right now, we are estranged right now, can't get the person on the mind. And man say, that is not love. The man say your mind work like a computer, So what you find is those experiences with the most intense emotional connection is the ones that you usually download in your hard drive, and it's downloaded on a loop. Him said that is not love. That is not love, Because very often those deep emotional situations, they are connected to some very hard, harsh, bad experiences. But because we are hopeful always, we are trying now to rethink and reprocess. So we are looking at the situation, and we are looking at all of the the different scenarios, and we're trying to come up with the right scenario in order to make it workable. When the fact of the matter is, it is not workable. We are incompatible. We are incompatible, and there is no way at all that we'll become compatible. Not in the present situation, not unless God intervenes. And one of the parties don't plan to make God intervene because they want to make it their choice. They want to make it their thing. They are the one in charge. No, that is a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for disaster. It is often said, and I think this is the hardest thing to do, and I'm going to go there because that's important. It's important. Most women have an idea, but they don't know how important sex is to relationship. And they think for men it's just a physical thing. It can become that, but it's not just a physical thing. For men, it's good for their mental health. It is good to de-stress. It not only just brings pleasure, but it also affirms the man in the relationship. It is a safe place. So women don't know what them bring, Them don't know what them bring to the table. Oftentimes say, boy, them bring everything to the table. No, you don't bring everything to the table. But what you do though is you bring an environment, you bring some assets to the table that allow for the proper regulation, psychological and mental regulation of man. Some women take it a step further, because some women, if they are not the center of your world, if you will not reject your parents, your children, and everybody else in it to have them, then you can't be with them, because they must be the center of your world, and that cannot be the right thing either. They are not the center of your world. They are a very important part of your life process, but they are not the center of the world. It's a partnership. So the relationship can become a partnership. Yes? And we do that through fellowship. I tell you about the ships last week, right? And so we must understand how it works. Men are not greater or better than women, but men have their role, and God gave them that role. So when women talking as if we don't have a role to play, or man is at the head of his house, no, I'm not the head of the house, me at the head of the house. No, that is foolishness. You can only say that if you don't understand that God has given you a role to play and the man a role to play, and both of you together, working together, will accomplish that which God wants you to accomplish. And that's part of the challenge, That's part of the challenge. Because everybody wants to play everybody's role. Everybody wants to play everybody's role. So women want to behave like men, and men want to behave like women. And I'm going to say something that's going to get me into trouble. I don't know who is on this line, but this is my personal belief, and I can back this up with scripture because that is also my foundation. Have you ever wondered, like some people say, they're born with a certain genetic, maladaptation, yes? Which means that them sexual schema develop different than the rest of us. But the bottom line is, it is what goes into your OU process, and sometimes there is a disconnect. Sometimes the thing go awry, and you will, but it's not. That is not the way it ought to be. So, two women will be in a relationship, and they don't like men. Yet, still one of the women have to act like a man to make that relationship work. Two men claim, because this is a claim, because I don't know women and women, men and men into that kind of stuff. But yeah. Two men claim to be whatever they are, yes? And we can call it a lesbian or a homosexual, or men who have sex with men and women who have sex with men. I don't care what they want to call it. They might have all kind of new name for it. Back in 1987, we call it deviant. It was a deviant behavior. It was a deviant behavior, and we could basically deal with it as a deviant behavior. Mental illness. We have changed that now, because over time, the world has gone awry, and the world has allowed itself to understand, which is not really understand, it's really becoming more stupid. You understand me? And to accept a certain thing. And the church of Jesus Christ have also cast their lot against the word of God to accept this as norm. It is not norm. I don't want to get into that, but the bottom line is that what I'm looking at. We're looking at, though, the fact that you don't like women, but one of you have to behave like a woman for that relationship to work. So two men in there, one have to behave like a woman for that to work. There's something wrong with that psychology. There is something wrong with that, philosophy, theory, whatever you call it. There's something wrong there. And that's something to look at too. Because what is happening is that we have taken it a little bit further. Because, at that time we knew that, they were both whatever. No, we have gone a little bit deeper in that we have now begin to physically change our appearance to be like the opposite sex without telling some people who might see you and are drawn to you. I'm praying to God that none of our brothers in Christ will be drawn to those persons. I pray the Holy Spirit download into your being the Spirit, yes, and the gift of discernment. Yes, the Spirit and the gift of discernment, so you might discern these things before, because when these things happen, usually there's a violent backlash, and we're not into that, because that is not where we're at. That's not what we're pushing. We don't want that. We want us as human beings, as men of God, to live healthy lives, healthy family lives, to build firm and strong families, to undergird and to buttress that which is there right now. Yes, to ensure the longevity and the continuity of the human species. That's what we're about. And so those are some of the things too that allow for some of the things to take place. So we say psychological abuse is one of the most common form of domestic violence that men would face. And usually the women folks go for our masculinity. Yes. Yes, that we accuse of not being manly enough, accused of being mom and all these things. That is something that we need to work on. We need to have some conversation on. So you might send your thoughts, because we need to hear what you are saying. And on the flip side of that, we also do the very same thing with women, but to a lesser extent. Yes. But I remember, and I'm going to share something. I remember many years ago, I am having a conversation with an acquaintance, which was a female. And so we were having a conversation about some of the issues that she was facing with her husband, who was also known to me. And she said to me, quite frankly, she said, listen, she was getting up in age as well. And she said, oftentimes when she doesn't feel like, having intimate, relationship, and nocturnal activities with him, that he will abuse her badly, saying that, she's this and she's that and her big whatever. And he would curse the very same thing that he's asking her for. The very same thing that he's asking her for, he would curse it to say, this is a P, this is a. And it occurred to me, why do we engage in such folly and foolishness? If you want to enjoy the woman, why would you curse the very same thing that you want? Why are you going to tell her she's a big thinking whatever? Why? It's a folly that comes from a place that suggests that whenever something is said that you don't like, you have to lash out. You have to lash out. You have to hurt by the person. The person something jump back to you and say no to you, have to lash out. That is toxic, wicked, wrong. I mean, I really care who do it. I don't care who do it. Oh, beg your pardon. I know some of you. I beg your pardon. You're not. I'm from the other end of the street, so sometimes I dive in the colloquial vernacular to express myself. So please forgive me. There are times that I will chip out. But that is so wrong, though. That is so wrong. If we love our women, why is it that we curse our women? If we love how that particular organ lets us feel, why would we curse it? If we wanted more than dry peas want fire for cook, why would we curse it? If it's nicer to eat and curry chicken back with white rice, enough pepper in it and tomato and lettuce. Why would we curse it? And I'm not taking a serious thing, a joke. But the bottom line is we do these things and it's a folly. It's wrong. And as Gina would say, when we do this, we're an embarrassment to God. I believe so. Because if the Lord have called us to be head of our household, it means that there are some things that we do that must come in alignment with what God wants, His purpose for us. It can't be anything less. And if God is not doing that, why are we doing it though? Where did we get that from? How do we justify doing that? You see, men have to set the example. If you want something to happen, you have to make it happen. You have to set the example. How you live your life must be one that reflects it, so you can demand this of your wife, and you can demand this of the family. If you don't live it, how are you going to demand it? Or you're going to tell them that this is the way. You have to lead. You have to model. You have to model the way for people. You have to model the way for people. And so I'm suggesting to you right now that there are some adjustment that needs to be made in some of our lives. If it's a man, article man from an inner city, you know all the thing run, don't it? But the bottom line is, we are not always right. We don't always do it right. It might have worked for us, but don't mean it's right. It working for you don't mean it's right. When you call a woman and demand upon things, that don't make it right. What about the sweet surrender? What about the willingly give over herself? Yes, when men are the perpetrators, yes, of abuse, and we are historically in many cases, abuse in relationship involve men using power to control over it. Of course, it's a power play. That's all right, Brother Brown. It's a power play. But bottom line, do we need a power play though? People don't understand. You don't need a power play. People don't understand that power is not brute force. Power is not coercion. Power can be exerted through love. Love. Power can be exerted through love. If you model the right thing, if you do the right thing, persons might be, yes, more predisposed to doing the right thing because you do the right thing. And I'll give you an example. Many years ago, I used to go to Coronation Market. I have not been there for the longest while. But this is what I found out. On my journeys through Coronation Market, my route was normally mapped out for me. Yes? I'll go to the front gate. I'll take the left turn and I'll go down like you're going back to Darling Street side. I'd come back to the center aisle, and then I would go right and go down on that little space in between Coronation Market and the other arcade market right there. And I would go down to the bottom, like you're going back to that's expansion road, I believe it is. Yes. And I would tell everybody from I enter that market, any stall that I stop, I would tell, even if I never stop at a stall, as long as they're there, I say, morning, on the door. And this is what I found out. The people over time, and it wasn't long after, recognized me. Every morning, every Saturday morning I go there, they would recognize me. They would tell me morning before I tell them morning. And if I'm buying something from them, I would get the very best of what they have. So I said, how much you plant? And I'm saying, no, so it's $200 for tree planting. And I say, yeah. And so I would be taking up some planting, and they would say, no man, leave it. And they would go into their little accoutrements there, tie up them like a bungle, tie up, and they would take out some planting without spot or blemish. They would take out some plant with us nice. Want a piece of yellow yam? They would take out a piece of yellow yam, and it would be the driest, nicest piece of yellow yam. You understand me? And when they give me two, and I say, oh, this are £3. And I say, give me £2, and give me a £3. And I say, no, go on, man, you're good, man. Because guess what? We have that kind of relationship. And I was not just doing it. I was modeling it because I felt comfortable telling people morning. I felt comfortable healing them. I felt comfortable having a conversation. I said, I never said last week I want you. I said, no, I've never come in because so and so. Or the chocolate mate. You know, that kind of thing. They became comfortable and they responded to me, an individual, in a way that they responded differently to other persons. And they basically ensured that whatever I bought from them was the best. They gave me the best of what they had. It is about modeling. It's about modeling. It's about modeling. If we want to stifle, to stop that cycle of abuse, we have to do some things differently. And if you join yourself to a woman or a man who is abusing you, and no matter what you do, they continue to abuse you, then you need to reconsider if you want to stay right there. Because what it meant is that you would have joined yourself to a very toxic, intoxicating, toxic relationship. And some people stay in those relationships because they claim the sex good. But the sex can't be better. Or the sex can't be that good in an abusive situation. Why do you think you can't get good sex in a good relationship without abuse? Why we think that? Why we think that? Why we think that we can't have good relationship outside of the toxicity that exists in some of our relationship? Why? Why think you can find a woman to make you happy and you make her happy and there's no such kind of abuse? Why you can't find a woman who can support you? Why? There are several reasons, you know. I mean, you want to go all that because some of it will become just so, you know what I mean? You understand me? But this is what happened. In our choice, very often we use our eyeballs only to make the choice. We use what the media tell us. Let me share something. You know. And this is not a confession, but this is my own experience. Yes, because we have confessed this many years ago. When I was growing up, porn wasn't that prevalent, but of course, you know, as youths and youths, should I get a little one hustler, you know, one penthouse magazine, them kind of stuff, tax off, you know, whatever they know. Yes, and the psychology of that book would suggest to us that only white women were sexy and them had to be skinny. So them white and skinny, they were sexy. The books were filled with the standard of beauty. Yes? Not according to our cultural disposition, but according to the culture that brought us, that took us from our own culture and insert us in their culture, and they were reprogramming our brain. So you had to wear white, you had to be skinny, you had to be tall. Yes? But most black women were not that. Let me fix my glasses good. And so we used to look at full-figured women as if something wrong with them. If you're old enough, you know me I talk about. Yeah. Those things also impact on how we select or we choose partners. Yes? Mark you. At this point in time in our lives, the reverse, the opposite, the converse has now taken place. Yes, I mean, black women have risen to a place of prominence, and the more fluffy, we think that's the best thing for us, you know. The bigger, the better, you know. The full figure, the thicker is like a cornmeal porridge. I have a thick like cornmeal porridge. You understand me? I have a thick like cornmeal porridge, and you stick your spoon night, stand up. You understand me? I say literally and otherwise. But yeah, so those are some of the things that came into our space, came into our cultural disposition. And people don't understand, you know. People don't understand. If you look at who is using those strings, the puppeteers, you realize that the puppeteers design these things so that they can make money from it. They always win. It's like gambling. If you go into a gambling house, even if you win, the house never lose. If you use a slot machine, no matter how much time you win from a slot machine, you will never break the slot machine. The slot machine can be gated. We can actually program it to retain 70% of the money that go in there. And although you win, you might be one out of the how much probability that win. The bottom line is you can never break the machine. The machine will always win. The puppet masters are always winning. They basically determine how we behave, how we react, how we utilize things, how we set up families. Listen, there was a time when we talk about family and family value, and that was the right thing. That is according to the scripture. Nowhere in a Christian era. That's what they call us. We are post, we are past. We're in a past Christian era. And what they're suggesting to us now is that we have gotten it wrong, that we have done the wrong thing, we have been given the wrong thing. And so now we are now encouraged to be liberal, to be free, to be freaky, to take onto ourselves alien sexualities that cannot perpetuate and keep the human race going. So we are being programmed not to have children. We are being poisoned not to have children. We are being encouraged to go into same-sex relationships so we not have children. Our children believe that it is so difficult to maintain children and to have good relationship, that the bottom line is what they are suggesting to us now is that them not having opinion, that's too much work. So what is going to happen? The population will continue to decline. We are dying out. The devil don't have to kill us anymore. They don't have to enslave it to kill you anymore. We are just not having children. So when we dead, we dead. Our line is gone. Our lineage gone. There's nothing more to carry on. People don't understand. How much more you think old people can work? People talking like kind of foolish about to move the age of what you call it now? The age of retirement to 70. That is foolishness. Half of we pop down at 60. We have worked too hard. At 50, we'll be struggling to go. At 60, we'll pop down. They want you to work to 65 now. By the time you work to 65, how much more year you think you have on average that you can enjoy life? People don't understand what's happening. If the average life cycle is 80 or 82, and you retire at 65, you tell me how much more year you have to live a full life, to enjoy life. You can't enjoy life on pension. It is not sufficient for you to enjoy life. It is only sufficient to keep you on the liquor's wheel like a rat running, chasing after something that you can will never catch. That's what's about. It's not about nothing else. So I'm suggesting to you that we have to plug out of this matrix. We have to decommission the thing and rethink our probability, our prospects, rethink those things. If we continue to chase the almighty dollar at odds with parenting and raising families, it means that we will not have nobody else left. We'll just come in like some fruit when we just have fruit and name it until it's done and we're dead. And then we wonder why we abuse each other. We wonder why we don't have patience. People with children have patience. People with children know how to love them, pitney, and pitney bad. So having children actually teach you how to love. You don't even understand that. It teach you patience. It teach you how to love. It teach you how to organize the time. Nobody is better at time management than a good mother. These people raise 10, 12 pitney, 9, 6, 7 pitney. And them get through most of the things, anything them put on the paper, having their mind for them get through it for the day. Including cooking and washing, taking care of that, going to work, coming back, make sure them come from school, do them homework, them get it done every day. They are more organized than us. But we have poisoned ourselves to believe that there are some things that are just too difficult. And the younger generation has taken on those things. Consequences of intimate partner violence. And as I said, violence is not the only kind of abuse. Yes? It's not the only kind of abuse. This stress can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder. You hear me say? When you have intimate partner violence, whether it's physical or psychological, it can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder, which is often associated with depression, anxiety disorder, substance abuse, and suicide. You realize a number of our young ladies today leaving high school, them basically have what we call anxiety disorder and PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. You realize that? Because their first sexual experience is usually traumatic. And them having it, well, the research said them having it from 10 and 11-year-old. You understand me? I say? So they are now coming into womanhood, they are now coming into adulthood with post-traumatic stress disorder. Some women are coming now into, some men are now coming into with the very same thing. Because some of us stupid enough to follow the crowd. We are like a herd. So we are follow a friend. Peer pressure. No, man, if you're not a girl, you're not a man, man. You're a girl. No, you're a man, man, if you have a girl, man. You know what I mean? Back in the days, multiple men would have sex with whosoever is available. We call it batchy. And we think so that was good. That was not good. Never good. Never participate in that. Because me not understand. Yeah, me not mix up with way. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. But that was a standard part for some people in some part of the community. The higher echelon, the rich people, the upper class, the upper crust, whatever you want to call them had a different kind of thing too. And I hear some pastors with this argument, which I do not subscribe to or buy into. And I understand where I'm trying to go, but I'm telling them that they're wrong. We had a situation in Jamaica in the 60s, 50s, 60s, and early 70s, where we just send young ladies from the country, rural area, into town to work, to find work. Because after a while, so them come to town to make a life, so them could send for them people and things. So them come as domestic workers and babysitters and all these things. What used to happen is that the rich people, the high collar people, the upper class people, when them come, worse if they were fine looking young ladies, you would find that a whoop of sexual abuse would take place. When they got pregnant, all the woman of the house would do was to send that bad one to country because her husband did do the damage. So she sent her back to country to have the baby. She'd go back to country in shame. She go back to country because, bastard pin, her father, Some people should give them children them own a name. What things happen? And that child would grow up without any inheritance. He was here to nothing. It was indeed an error and a mistake. Being raped by the people who hire you. Being raped by the people who hire you. Well, there was a prime minister who implemented some radical social justice program, which was more than, yes, it was before his time. It's like man was ahead of his time. And so when you hear about no boss on the day again, we need to understand why that was so. So if we know, say, that was one of the errors that was made, why Jamaica's way it is, that don't follow. It doesn't follow. And I know some very strong Christian men and women have that kind of mindset. And they rightly, they can have their kind of mindset. But if you look at it, it could not be right. It could not be right that these women were abused, and the children and the offspring of those abusive relationships was without coverage, was without recognition. That could not be what God would want. That could not be justified, and God wouldn't justify that. And I've seen nowhere where God justified that. Where God say, yeah, man, make them be without inheritance. No, I've not seen it. So I've probably not read all 66 book, every verse in every 66 book. So if there is a verse and you have something, you can let me know. But those were some of the things that happened, though. And the truth be told, we had what we would call back in the days vaginal politics. We're the middle class black people, yes, the liberals, the free liberals. They would send their children off to England to study, so they would come back as doctors and lawyers, men of letters. And men of color with letters behind the name need the fairer sex to be wedded to, because the fairer sex bring you into acceptance in the society. So poor, fair-skinned white women would marry to black men because they would give them status. You see, history is a beautiful thing. It's a hard thing, but it's a beautiful thing. And this vaginal politics exists even today, probably to a lesser extent, but exists even today. Many women don't want men who are building. They don't want men that they can build with. They want men who are already established. They are not in the suffering game. Women say, no, man, we are not suffer together, man. When you get something, we can come together. It's because the relationships have become transactional. And that is part of the perpetuation of the maladjusted situations that lead to abuse in relationships, intimate partner relationships. The consequence of intimate partner violence, this stress can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder, which often associated with depression, anxiety disorder, substance abuse, and suicide. Research confirms the long-term physical and psychological consequences of the ongoing past violence. Yes? Yes. It does. It does. It perpetuates it. And so now we're handing down our maladjusted understanding of what we are going through. This symptom, this sickness, this illness, this malformed mindset. We're now handed down to our younger generation, our men and our women. And so they're now doing the exact thing that we thought was wrong, and it become norm for them. Yes? So we have to stop it at some place. How do we stop it? And that's what we want to discuss before we leave here today. And again, share your thoughts. You are in the chat, you're on the WhatsApp group, share your thoughts. I want to hear your thoughts. You know, sometimes we just talk and there's a whole lot of talking going on. You know what I mean? But I don't necessarily want to have this whole lot of talking going on. What I would love for you to do is to share your thoughts so we can have a conversation, not a monologue, but a dialogue going on. Yes. I know what I'm saying. Going to hit some men hard, and I know it's going to hit some women hard too. But we have to come to a place where we can just stop. We have to just stop. We have to just stop. We have to just put a full stop right there, sir, and find a better way to do it. If we don't find a better way to do it, we are in trouble. We're in serious, serious trouble. And that is the thing that I don't want us to be in. I don't want us to be in trouble to the point where at the end of the day, we can't move forward. We're just on a downward spiral to death and destruction. It can't be. I want us, when we are choosing partners, men, when you're choosing partner, I know the thing changed now. So women are now proposing to men and all these things. Actually, not that way. That's a wrong way. That's maladjusted. That's wrong. That's just that's just not it. That ought not to be it. Yes. So we are talking about relationship. We're talking about abuse in relationship. We are talking about all of those parts. Yes, that would allow for our relationship not to be maximized, not to be special, not to be productive and efficient, not to be exactly what we would desire it to be. We are talking about abuse, and right now we're just talking about intimate partner violence. But it's not just a violence. We're talking about the abuse, the psychological abuse, verbal abuse, and all of those things. And those things have repercussions. We are debunking the lie that sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. That's a lie from the pit of hell. And we are debunking that right now. And we are suggesting to you that, yes, words hurt. Words hurt longer than a broken bone. Words hurt longer than a wound that will heal. Listen, man, often these behaviors are connected to power. Yes, anger, insecurity, learned behavior, or unhealthy views about controlling relationship. You are right, my brother Craig. You are right. Personally, you're right. It's insane. Because all of these things we should understand. If you are not in control, I say be angry and sin not. But yet still we are angry. Because an angry man oftentimes make errors. Errors in judgment, errors in how he acts. It's crazy. The men of today in Jamaica are angry. All you see it on the road. A man bad drive you, and if you say something to him, abuse you. There is something wrong with our mental health. And as one songwriter say, you know, and to all my sister them, stop getting involved with the madman them. These men may say they love you with their lips, but how they behave and treat you is not love. The money is not love. The fact that you get money is not love. The fact that they bring you gifts is not love. They bring you a gift and beat you when them done is not love. Yes. If they want to control, they can't go anywhere. You can't do this, you can't do that, and they report to them like you're a police, or you're let out on parole or something, and you're taking the police from time to time. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong when a man is insecure or a woman is insecure in their relationship. Yes, because of the learned behavior, because of what people tell them, because what they expect. It is expected for somebody to be we call it dishonest, to be unfaithful. No, that can't be. I said, no, man, it's a man thing. No, it's not a man thing. It's a lie from Peter L. It's a lie from Peter L. Go man thing yourself. Yes, go man thing yourself. Don't man thing me and the rest of my people, man thing. You understand me? So that is part of the thing. You understand me? That people don't understand. So we're going to look at a number of things right now. And Craig, you're on the ball. Healthy, unhealthy view about controlling relationship. Who say we have control relationship? We're in a relationship and it's mutual. And we understand our role according to how God ordained our role to be, then it will work. I understand that relationship has changed over time. But then it was about replenishing the earth and, be fruitful and multiplying. No, it's not about that's about getting rich and living the best life. No, without any encumbrances, because if we have children, then we'll come a bother. That's why we have aborted so much person since January 1 till now. The abortion rate is so high. It's not funny. If you go to the World Health Organization website and you look it up, you will be astounded. If you ask them how much person was aborted in 2024, 2025 period, you will be left speechless. You would go crazy. You will be it's a crazy thing happening. And that is what it's all about. It's not about us. It's not, you see, we think it's about we, individual, I. But there is no I in team. There's no I in us. Yes. And if we are to live upon this earth and enjoy the fruits of this earth as God would have us to enjoy it cannot just be about the I. The only idea is that I must make sure that I do the right thing for us. So I must do the right thing for us. I must do the right thing for we. Yes. That is what it's about, the group. No man is an island and no man can be, do a thing by himself. No, that don't work. Together. And we need to debunk ourselves of the lie that we are independent. You cannot be independent. God never designed you to be independent. We are all interdependent. Women came from men and man come from woman. Yet still we can't find the right frequency to love each other, to have the other's best interest at heart rather than to have our own personal interest at heart. Why it has to be selfish? Why it always have to be about me? Why it always have to be about what I want? Why can't it be about what we want, what we require to live in harmony? What is it about harmonious relationship that we hate, that we think that we have to become toxic and violent and abusive in relationship? What is it? Anyway, it's a whole other thing. And sometimes when you get into this thing, you realize that there's just a whole lot of stuff in your heart, a whole lot of stuff in your mind. And sometimes you just kind of pour it out. It's not about that. We don't necessarily want that. We want to learn from this. And so, 12 ways to help combat intimate partner violence. 12 ways to combat intimate partner violence. We're learning now, and we're coming down. We're kind of boiling it down, and I need to see something. I need to see your what you're saying, what you're thinking. Last time I think we had about 60 person listening in, and that's just wonderful. We want to engage. Yes, we want to engage. So if you're on the line now, if you're you're going through the thing, listen. Let me see some of your thoughts. The first way is to educate yourself. So let's do that. So we're talking about intimate partner violence, and we're talking about how do we combat it? Educate yourself. And I'm just reading from the internet because I did a little research, so there's some stuff here that we can learn from. Yes, we can borrow from. The best way to learn is not from your own experience. A wise man once said that. The best way to learn is to learn from other people's experience. Let me share some with you. If you are around firearms and you don't know how to handle firearm, any error with a firearm may end your life. There's some stupid people around. I remember there a man was playing with a gun, and there was one up in the chamber. So he took out the magazine. Never know about the gun. He never know about him. Never know about gun safety. He never know nothing about gun safety. So he took out the magazine and one was in the chamber. And of course, them joking around and playing Russian roulette. He put the gun to him and draw the trigger. Can you tell me what happened to him? Did he live to learn from his error? Was he able to correct his mistake? Your guess is as good as mine. So we can educate ourselves. The most important aspect of preventing intimate partner violence is understanding the complexity of the issue. Understand the role that media plays. Yes, how jokes perpetuate a culture of excuse and perpetrators, and know the signs of abuse when they are happening. When you listen to songs like Eminem, Love the Way You Lie, do you recognize a cycle of abuse for what it is, or do you just hear the song and sing along? We do that all the time. Nuff girl in a bungle, girl from Bream and girl from jungle. Nuff girl in a bungle, and da 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 da. Hey. Welcome the girl, them sugar. The girl, them need this nigga, yeah. Welcome the girl, them sugar. The girl, them world class lover. Blah 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 blah. And let me even go further. Let me go further. If loving you is wrong, I don't wanna be right. Woman now one relationship in a film one relationship. I must sing that. Music sing that too, you know. So me choose one by myself. If love it, listen to me. We have idolized, we have perpetrated, we have brainwashed ourselves in normalizing, yes, all of the wrong things that lead to perpetuate and consistently concretize abuse in relationship. And the wickedest part is the people who are on the shitty end of that stick, the women, they also justify it. So we have to educate ourselves. Pop culture has a habit of normalizing abuse, and many of us are blind to it. We need to stop and really listen to what you're internalizing and examine how it might influence the way you think about abuse. Let me say it again. You need to stop and really listen to what you're internalizing and examine how it might influence the way you think about it. There is no acceptance for a man abusing a woman. There's no acceptance for a man to beat a woman. There's no acceptance for that. There is no acceptance for a woman charging headlong, spitting words that cut sharper and deeper than knives into the psychology of a man. Because when she reduces him to nothing, she don't understand. That's a man with power, but he's without purpose. His ultimate goal and objective then will bring you chaos and ruin. And not just you, but the lives of everybody else who he comes in contact with. When you break a man like that, when you break a woman like that, every relationship that we enter in after that will be a relationship that's on the back foot from day one. It's a relationship that will be toxic from day one, from get-go, from Jump Street. That is what will happen. And we need to break that cycle. We need to break the cycle. Break the cycle. Broke your glass, broke your vase, dash it out, broke it like the broomstick. Then we look at becoming a trained advocate. That will help you to inform yourself, and you will start to inform others in your circle. Yes, so you become a trained advocate. Yes? Now, Tessa, among many other domestic violence and sexual assault agencies, this is the United States law. Yes, we have a similar one in Jamaica. offers a 45-hour training to become a confidential victim advocate. This is not only an extremely important educational tool, but it's also a way to connect with other members of your community who are interested in ending gender-based violence in all its form. The training will give you the education you need. It will give you the tools you need to address it on a personal level first, and then you will address it on a next level. Then we have be a resource. Of course, education, all this springs from education. All this basically cascades from education. If someone discloses to you their lived experience, Ephesians 4:31-32, King James Version, let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. You know, that man I work, you know. Yeah, man. Brother Craig. This man the ball, you know. Yes, Brother Craig. That's what the word of God says. Let all bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor, and evil speaking in every form, shape, be put away from you with all malice. You know why? If this is your remit, then you cannot love your wife like, oh, Christ of the church and gave his life for it. If you are doing this, your love cannot be sacrificial. Your love must be sacrificial because you are the head of your household. You're the man in the house. You're the priest and the king over your household. You're the provider and protector of the household. So if this is what you're doing, you cannot love your house like oh Christ of the church and gave his life for it. So we can put that there. That's a first pillar. And then we're going back to the resource. Mainstream culture tells us to question people when they reveal instance of abuse. Check in with yourself. And if that is your first instinct, try not to voice these opinions. Our jobs as ally is to support and believe survivors when they come forward with abuse, keeping in mind that they very well could be the first person, yes, they have told. You could be the very first person they have told, rather, and validate their experience by expressing how difficult the situation is and that no one deserves to be abused. Acknowledge that you are not the expert and instead refer them to a resource like Tessa in the United States. As I said, we have one out here. We have a similar agency out here where we can call to work through these problems. With trained professionals in violence intervention, being a resource can also mean accompanying them to seek out professional services and supporting them through the process. We must stop do victim shaming and victim blaming. We have a tendency oftentimes to blame the victim and to break them down worse and to not give them the support that they need to lift them out of the mire and the muck, the conundrum of what they're in. And that is part of the challenge. We must not validate, we must not concretize them in that position. We must not victim shame and victim blame. Victims of gender-based violence are often blamed for their abuse or have their abuse minimized. It is up to all of us to create a culture where those beliefs are not tolerated and instead cultivate an environment that believes and validates survivors' experience. The solution is not don't get assaulted. No, that's not the solution. The solution lies in changing the conversation around responsibility and holding the offenders accountable for their action, accountable for their belief system, accountable. We have to hold ourselves accountable. Men have to be held accountable. Women have to be held accountable for their action. It can't be that because you and the man don't work out, then you decide that the man not going to see him in Pitney. You want to take away the pity from him, not to see him baby, not to see him, he must not be a part of the life of that child. While you pour into that child pure bitterness, saying that your papa not worth nothing, your papa workless, your papa left you, me alone, they are mine, you. I when give money for my Pitney, you don't, your papa not give nothing. You are me alone, you have, me alone. You decide that. The child never decide that. The father never decide that. But of course, the father will be blamed for everything. The maladjustment of the child, the child growing up fatherless, the child growing up in discipline. he will be blamed for everything, although it was not his desire for his child to be grown without him being a part of it. Listen, this is part of the process too. Enough man beat them woman and them the pitness are rare. So the pitness knows accept being beaten as a part, a normal part of correction or a normal part of life. Men beat their women. No, these are maladjusted thought processes that must come to an end. It must be hijacked. We must corral them and we must set it right. It must become something new. A paradigm shift have to take place. Yes. If you see something, say something. The cycle of silence must stop. This cycle of silence and fear must stop. It must stop. If it don't stop, then we are part of the problem, certainly not part of the solution. Yes. And of course, we can be a better bystander. Get involved. Bystanders get involved. Save lives. Yes, if not by yourself, call the police, call somebody. We have to get involved to save lives. Yes, situations must also be documented. We document situations so that we can have the conversations with the persons. Yes, we're looking at a different kind of justice system right now, where mediation is important. For that, now we need information. We need to document situation so that we can give them more tools to resolve issues that would lead to abuse and violence. We must encourage healthy gender expression for young people. They must not go around chatting foolishness. I'll take a grenade for you. I'll hug up a grenade for you. That is rubbish. I hear that song and I'm like, in a real life, which idiot write that song? Not know that young people have a tendency to hold on and them the thing there and sing the song like there's no tomorrow. That is crazy. A strong man is not one who control others, but one who control himself and treat others with dignity and love. You're hitting the nail on the head, Brother Craig. In truth and in fact, let me tell you something. The Bible talk about self-control. Yes? That's not something that we ask God for. That's not a gift. Many times we want every other gift except the gift of self-temperance, self-control. We don't want that. We want every other gift. We want to sing tongues. We want to interpret tongues. We want to do all manner of something. Except have self-control. Self-control is critical to the man of God. It is critical. All men must have self-control. Whether it's a man of God or not, you must have self-control. Men must have self-control. It's a part of our makeup. We must have it. This is what we must have. Men with self-control deal with situations better. We must encourage healthy gender expressions. Bring educational training to your community. See, not us we alone. We must bring it to community. Community must benefit from what we have. Education is the only thing you can share and never have less of. You can never be poor because you give away education or that you educate others. You cannot. Support organizations that are making a difference. Don't support organizations that are hurting the cause, and that is true. Yes. Women's Inc. and all those other places in Jamaica that look after women and young ladies who, who are abused and young ladies who have been, gotten pregnant in their teenage years. We need to support them with everything that we have, with our time, our money, and our input. We need to support these organizations. We need to create more. That some of us need to do more, because we can't just talk to people and send them back into the same situation. We need to find an alternative for them. And we need to do it in such a way that we not allow for them to live as beggars and mendicants. We need to find a way to save our women folks, to save our men folks. We need to find a way for our men folks to get the kind of psychological help that they need. Step up or step back. Is there a step up to the plate or a step back? If you step back, keep your mouth shut and don't add nothing negative to the situation, that can't help. Not even going to go into that. And finally, there must be a change in mindset. What I have here is a change in policy. But before you have a change in policy, you must have a change in mindset. We must have a change in value system. We must have a change in the value system that have been perpetrated throughout the last decade or more. That change must take place. We must go back to scripture. We must go back to the foundation of our legal system. We must go back to the foundation. We are a Christian nation, and whether or not we want to become liberal now and perpetuate what we call secular humanism. Yes, because that's what we want to perpetuate now. Hold a sec, here comes a big truck. We seem to have a lot of those passing through spaces right now. But yes, before we have the policy change, we must have a mental change. We must have a mindset change. We must reorient ourselves and re-educate ourselves. We must undo the folly and redo the right thing. Undo the folly and the waste and all of the rubbish that made up our understanding and what we think was right and just. We must undo them and redo it with the right material. The word of God must be the thread that stitch all of this together. And so when you have a different mindset, you don't even need a policy. But in lieu of that, we also need policies to guide the activity and the actions of those who are broken and who need to be strengthened. That's a whole lot of chatting I've done. And I kind of feel like it's a monologue sometimes. But because sometimes you read these things and you're experiencing these things and you're so filled up with these things, you can pour out. But dialogue is important. And I want dialogue. I want it. We're going to work on this thing because we need to hear your voice. We need to hear your input. We need to hear what you're saying, what your heart is saying. We need to hear if you have it wrong or you have it right, so we can help you to make it right, that we can help you to get the right thing going, to get the right thing, the right input. We need that. Oh, dear brother Craig is just wonderful. Listen, Craig, I'm a right hand man. Tech team, Craig, I'm a right hand man. Anytime we have this, Craig, I have to dip on this thing. Yeah, man. Him have to be on this back spot. Because what he's saying is so right, though. It is so on the money, though. Yes, there are some things that the Lord would say that we ought not to be, but that we are. And if we should change those things, then we'll be different human beings, don't it? Yes. Much different human beings. If we change our mindset, you see up here, the seat of your consciousness, that thing that is in your brain, your skull, your brain that is in your skull, the processing that takes place right there, your thought process, yes, your mind, yes, because your brain is different from your mind. People know that your brain is different from your mind. Your brain is an organ, your mind is a process. The processor in your brain that allow you to make these decisions. All of these electronic things that is shooting all your brain so that you can see, hear, feel, think, process. Yes, that is it. And that is need to be reprogrammed. That needs to be reprogrammed so that we have better relationship. Abuse is not physical alone. Psychological abuse, psychological abuse live longer than physical abuse in many, many instances. And no abuse is acceptable. Sexual abuse, verbal abuse, other psychological abuse, the withholding of oneself, the giving away of oneself, the use of oneself for economic gain, while others believe that you are exclusive. Those abuse must stop. And despite the fact that you're an individual, don't mean if you're in a relationship, you are not your own. None of you is your own. The man can't do him feel like, and the woman can't do what she feel like. The Bible says you are belonging to each other. And what the Bible says? Go to Ephesians and go to one next part of the Bible. We can find that next week. You're not your own, though. No. You cannot do anything, though. No. To do anything means that you might sin against God. You might sin against this body that God has given you, this temple. This temple is for God's inhabitation. You are in the house of God. You are in the place where God is. You're utilizing God's resources every minute, every moment of every day. Every breath that you take belongs to God. And as such, we need to understand that together we make it. Together we make it. And our decisions can ruin our future. Don't let a little sexy, don't let a little masculinity, don't let just a good physical feature determine your future. Your partner requires more than that. And it starts with finding the right person for you. How them look have nothing to do with it. People look good and they're wretches. People look good and they're abusers. People look good and they're devils. People look good and they're possessed with demons. Wild sex is not it either. While that has its place, but it's not it either. Because sometimes that's all that is good. The treatment is bad, the abuse is bad, and the sex don't answer the question. It just temporarily give you a temporary relief and leave you feeling less than yourself. We have come to the end of the Mancave podcast today. I hope with all that is said that you will find something that you can use to improve your particular situation. And again, we strive to make it better every week. We want your input. We need to hear your voice. We need to see your thoughts so you can comment on it. Not even retroactively. I like when we do it right away. But even if it happens retroactively, we want to hear your voice. So let me encourage you to log on to the Man Cave on Sunday afternoon at 4. Log on. Use your WhatsApp to put up your what you think. Yes, share your ideas as we move forward, as we educate. Yes, as we educate, and not even so much entertain, but educate you on the things that can make you improve your lot in life as men first and foremost, and as the head of your house. And for the women on the podcast, I'm trusting that you're also learning some things. Because there's some activities that we do that we think are normal and that we think should be norm, that basically is leading to our own demise. How you speak to your husbands, your spouse, your partners, is very important. And if you speak to them in any particular way outside of how the Lord would have it to be, you will certainly reap what you never want to sow. You sow it and you're going to reap it. But you never want to sow that because you never know those were seeds of discord and seeds that can break you and break your relationship in 1,000 pieces. And men, stop using your manhood as a weapon to subdue people. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. You are indeed the head of your house, the priest of your house, the provider of your house, the protector of your house. There's so much thing you are of your house. You have to do it right. Get it right so that the household can get it right. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. And have a wonderful, wonderful afternoon. Make some notes if you can. And share if whether or not some of these advice, some of what we are saying, you can apply to your particular situation if you're going through any situation that might seem reflective of those that we are speaking about. Make some notes and share with us. This is, of course, your host, Horace Prince, Man Cave Podcast. Again, I think we have been having some technical challenges, but our tech team will get it right in a short while. So our tech team will wind up. But you know, in truth and fact, and let me check the WhatsApp group to see if you guys have posted anything, because it would be good. Okay. Oh my. All right. I'm going to have to wrap up. Our usual soundbite is not won't be played right now. Or tech or tech team was booted off. Hey, technology is a thing. Is a thing. So we're gonna have to wrap up. So, you know, may have a blessed afternoon. I pray that you have a very good dinner if you're going back to church. Yes. Um, just have a wonderful time in the house of the Lord. It's always good. It's always good. Be blessed, and I'll see you next week. Hopefully we have a conversation. All right, then next week.